today I am talking to the legend that is Tommy Victor of the amazing Prong. And we're here to talk about their new live album to come out, Live and Uncleansed. It's out on Steamhammer now. And it's a pleasure to speak to you today, Tommy. Thank
Thanks,
you.
George. I'm flattered. Thank you.
Well, I'm a long-term Prong fan, actually.
Oh, nice.
Well, Cleansing came out when I was working in a record shop here in Leeds, and it soundtracked a very formative summer for me. I kind of got into noise rock and I got into chunky metal and all of that stuff at the same time. And Prong seemed to like bridge that gap between metal and noise rock. So I liked Melvins, but I also liked Metallica and stuff, and it was like that connective tissue there. What do you remember of those years? Because this live album kind of it's celebrating that era, that album. So what do you remember from that time?
That's great that you noticed that the noise element of prong, because that's sort of where I came from, being on the Lower East Side. Bands like Rat At Rat R, Live Skull, Sonic Youth, uh, were very influential on me. And Killing Joke was another one. So as I was sort of a post-punk guy and with noise rock, and I got into hardcore a little bit through listening to the Oi bands when they came out, sort of, and Discharge. So that's where I came in, and then eventually I got turned into thrash later on. So the main element was alternative rock with me. Ted was more into metal. He got me into groups like Creator and Destruction. So it was a mesh between that. And then the hardcore scene in New York was, I mean, that's where everything was around us. Like I worked at CBGB, so you know,
Wow.
the the scene there was influential on Prong, and it was great back then. And we had bands like Agnostic Front, Murphy's Law, Cro-Mags, and then National Act, Suicidal Tendencies coming in there, and Verbal Abuse, Minor Threat, Dag Nasty eventually. So we were exposed to a lot of that, and it somehow merged into the prong sound. And then there was a big club scene too. So we not only had like CB's, it was a place called Limelight. It was a large club, it was in an old church in Manhattan, and they'd have a rock night there. So there'd be a huge dance floor, dancing to whatever, Sisters of Mercy to what have you. And That's where we felt Prong could get in there too. Like that's where, so let's just do these hard dance beats. And I think that's what the Cleansing record was about. Beg to Differ was more groove metal, and Cleansing was sort of dance industrial metal with, with the groove metal as well. But, anything, the first three songs on Cleansing were played at clubs as well. So
Mm,
that was a big thing back then. It sort of died out when the record labels decided to focus all on R&B music, and
mm.
clubs sort of fell on the wayside, and it doesn't really exist that much. But you know, the scene was vibrant, and we were a reflection of that, of the fusion of all these styles. Definitely in Manhattan and New York was really what it was all about. We really didn't know what was going on in the rest of the country, except through tape trading. Earlier on, when we had our demo out, I was tape trading with everybody, and that's what we knew about. But we were quintessential like Lower East Side Manhattan band back then.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm fascinated specifically with the late 80s, early 90s in New York because so many of my favorite acts came from that. Like so many. I was only talking to like Philip Glass from David Glass,
Oh wow.
but the other day for Christian Death, and then before that, Unsane. I was talking to Chris Spencer from them, and that period is just like you're so exposed on all hit on all sides by all kinds of music that New York just seemed to just like grab bits from the bits you like and then smash them together. And what an amazing time it must have been. So that record came out, and it's funny you mentioned the club thing because we had a club here in Leeds called Asylum, I used to help out at the same time, and we used to play the first three tracks off Cleansing
Oh wow,
all the time.
see? Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Alongside like Ministry, like KMFDM, Nine Inch Nails, that sort of stuff. It all slotted perfectly in together. So you bridged into the like because of the beats were so tough, it bridged into industrial music as well.
Absolutely, yeah. The stripped down nature of that and just the ferocity of it. Uh, eventually I think like groups like Rammstein and then Static X, they took from that and like became huge from that whole vibe. So yeah, I mean it was a primal energy that was going on with it, and uh, yeah, I mean, it was definitely good for the clubs as well as radio too. Like we had a lot of exposure on radio in America, videos, MTV. We helped that Beavis and Butthead. See these two cartoon guys that commented on Snappy Fingers, Snap Your Neck, and that
I
helped a
remember
lot.
it.
So yeah, it was good. I mean, uh, didn't last that long, but we were sort of on top of the world for a little bit.
Absolutely. That was a period when like Pantera were coming through and stuff like
Yes.
that. And I often think that you should have got the Pantera props. That's a personal thing. I've always leaned towards the kind of noisier side of metal.
Yeah, that's where we came from, and that's why you got. I mean, Pantera came from basically like Van Halen and a straight ahead rock scene in Texas. It was very much different than where we came from, playing out of
Mm,
shitty little amplifiers on the Lower East Side. Like, like they were much more stylized as a mainstream heavy metal band, and that's where they
mm,
came out of and were, great musicians, great players, and Phil, the second vocalist was Phil, and he was dominant. So yeah, I mean it's hard to compete with something like that. Prong was definitely came from an alternative scene, and we
mm.
sort of emerged as a metal band. We marketed as that, and we sort of took that into our style. And as we matured as players, it became more of the emphasis was like, oh, now we're like a real metal band. So it sort of happened by accident, really.
Absolutely. I think one thing I think is fascinating about the New York scene in particular is it was. I spoke to Harley Flanagan about this, about how New York hardcore was very much the sound of the street. It was very much a reflection of New York, and you can hear it in the sound it's pointed out to you. It's indelible. Um, so it's just more streetwise, the New York sound. It just seemed to be more real, gritty, and just definitely not pulling any punches. And you've never pulled punches lyrically yourself. Um, your last album, State of Emergency, in 2023, I thought was fantastic. It was like you really not letting up at all. There's no mellowing out with you guys. I understand the follow-ups in the works, is it?
Yeah, it's in Mixdown now. We sort of finished it. Uh, So it was done fast and quick, and that's the way Beg to Differ was done, where we didn't really think about that much. It just said, "Okay, well, I got some time. Let's do this record," and we finished it up really fast. So I think there's some really good songs on it. It's pretty some really fast ones. So it's got a little bit of groove metal. It's a lot more. It's a lot faster than State of Emergency, uh, and then it goes into it's more diverse, I think, too. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So uh, that's coming out in November. It's the first record on Napalm Records, so you have to keep an eye out for that one. We just did a little 5 day, 5 show tour of the continent. We did a couple of shows in Germany, a couple in Belgium and Holland, promoting the live and uncleansed record, and people are digging it. I think it came out pretty good. It's like so we have some of the modern prong songs on this one too, which Revenge Best Served Cold, However It May End, and Ultimate Authority, along with the cleansing tracks on this live one. So you should check it out. It's
Mm,
available everywhere. So live and uncleansed prong.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to going to go on to this one next because recently I've been asking in interviews what are the albums that inspire musicians when they're old faithful records that never let them down. And do you know what? I, stunning majority of the musicians I've spoke to about this have said live albums. It's like
Interesting.
yeah, Unleashed in the East by Judas Priest got mentioned three times. L-
Wow.
Live
That's
After
a good one.
Death, Live After Death by Iron Maiden, another classic. And what do you think? I think I have a theory on this. Do you think musicians like lean towards the live albums because it reminds them of their favorite thing to do? Like, because you can't beat live, can you?
I think well, for me, it would be the vocals because like I was listening to Killing Joke. I forget the last live album they came
Oh
out
yeah.
with, and I really liked it. It sort of bypassed me. I got to look on which one it is. It's like it sort of bypassed me a little bit, and I was like, yeah. I mean, the vocals are so good because that's why what this record on the new Prong album, the two live record, it's all the live vocals and that was hard to accomplish technically because we're playing in small clubs, and then we did some of the festivals, and to use those vocals was a bit of a challenge, but we did it. And I just sing differently live. I'm gonna have a more intensity. It's just gonna have a different approach. Like when I'm singing and playing and I'm performing, going back on the microphone, it's gonna have a whole different vibe. So it's a different thing. So I wanted to capture that. Like it's just the first time it's really been captured because a lot of times you fix stuff up in the studio. We didn't do that, and I think that's what was attractive to to me coming from the old school too. Like I like the Live Cream records and with a lot of off the cuff stuff where you know uh, there's stuff I've done on the guitar that I wouldn't do like in the studio. It's just like it's just part of having people in your face and
Hmm.
just doing it. As far as Made Japan is one of my favorite live records, a Deep Purple record. There's sort of like a reckless abandon about it. I think it's true. Like that, the most fun you have as a musician, and this is why like actors and people, artists, they want to be in bands because they don't get that instant gratification. Like, you do a movie and you're in front of cameras and, like that's it. Like, you don't really get when people like it later on, like you don't experience that. Like, you hear about, good reviews or, maybe you go to the movie theater and see people's reaction or whatever. But, like when you're in a band, and people are like, right there in your face going crazy, it's a different feeling. So maybe that has something to do with it. But definitely, like my favorite bands, I like to hear. The Killing Joke is my favorite band, and like that last Killing Joke, I was like, wow, these live versions are so great. You know, like that I wish I would listen to this more. That's why it gave me a good feeling about doing this live record because now even down 3 years down the line, people may finally discover it. Go, oh, Prong put out a live record back then. It's like, I'm going to check this out now. It's like that's they may not immediately be completely. I'm trying to find this one. What the name of it is? They're completely. Um, yeah, the Great Gathering live at
Oh
Brixton
yeah.
Academy. So that was,
Mm.
I heard that, I was like, wow, this sounds cool. And it's like their coolest songs, and then all in one package and live. It's pretty cool. Like we went through different. We didn't do it all from one show. Like these are all from different shows too. So we sort of picked out the best, more high energy versions of each of the songs. Some of them are from this Antelieder Festival, which is in northern Germany. Like that whole show was great. And then we mixed in a couple other tracks. It's from some, there's one from Nuremberg and other places that the shows were just off the hook, so we threw them in there.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I personally love a live album. I really do.
Oh, good.
I personally do because there is that. There's I love the fact that you haven't put in overdubs. There's no cleanup in the studio because there is that
Nothing.
spontaneity that
Yeah,
you can't match. And in these days where everything's so overproduced,
it is.
I love that raw plug in play for amps, boom, you know everything happens in that moment. That spontaneity. So I'm really glad you approached the record like that. That kind of like this is documenting that moment in time.
Yeah, a lot of bands play with tracks now today too,
Mm.
so which we don't do yet. Uh, it seems like everyone wants you to because then it's more like what the record sounds like. But yeah, this is just all live. I mean, it's just plug in and play, and
Mm,
we don't have any tracks running now. Like you listen to the bands, like if there's like background vocals, like where's that coming from?
mm,
There's another guitar. Where's that coming from? Like they're playing along with stuff. So, this is just raw trio, old school style, live record, which I think the songs they work within that context. Like that's
mm.
so that's what's so enjoyable about it is that they don't need the production. It's like the songs are there, what they are, and that's cool. So that's it's a good document of that fact about the songs.
Absolutely. And certainly I was an interesting point was made to me recently about the musicians worried about the rise of AI music should also think that that also puts a premium on human, like just the one person with a guitar or something like that. The simplicity and the humanity of music, which I think I do hope they're right that there is a lean back to putting more of a premium on that human element. And what you talk about here with the live album is a fine example of that.
That's interesting because I think there's a lot of guys that can sit up there and play guitar and rock it, and be on, especially on an acoustic. So, and they're pretty unrecognized and like jazz musicians, etc. So hopefully that's true. But we've seen that anyhow, like where people are going to concerts a lot now, like where
Mm,
uh, it made people were I don't know. Maybe people, it goes up and down. People saying, "Oh, people aren't going anymore." Like they were to watch. They thought that music videos was going to take over, and YouTube was going to take. People aren't going to want to go to shows anymore, and that sort of hasn't happened to be the case. So,
mm,
uh, yeah, I mean, like it's curious because when you go on online now, you could sort of tell what's AI videos. People are going to know that it's AI, regardless of how perfect it is.
mm,
So they'll want to know by going to a show and being there live, and I don't think that'll ever die out, really. Uh, the kids especially will probably they'll find some reason to get out there and you know, get involved, I think. So that's a cool thing. But I
yeah.
hopefully that affects on like all the fake bands, like, which, you get that I'm not knocking R&B music, but with a lot of pop music today is it's a mime show. Like
Mm,
there's really not that much being performed live. I mean, they may sing along with the track, but there's not a lot of actual live thing
mm,
going on. It's all on computer, and they do a great job disguising it. But even your rock bands now, it's a lot of
mm,
tracking. So that's a little bit annoying. It's like how I mean, yeah, like I don't even know how bands really do it that well. I mean, you have to just keep going for. Like I like to take a break. I'm like, they either say something to the audience, or I mean, I know they have ways of doing it where the drummer could in control of the tracks. But a lot of times I go extend different parts. We like there's a song on this Prong record, Not of This Earth, and we sort of go on forever a little bit. It's like it's a 4-minute song on the cleansing record is 7 minutes on this one. So we sort
mm,
of like jam it out a little bit.
mm,
And sometimes we were playing it so sometimes I exaggerate it live, like we'll just keep going on this one thing, and people are into it. Like I'm shocked that like some of these guys in the band, like, oh, you can't keep going on that part. People are going to get bored, but they haven't been. They've been sort of like hypnotized by it more. So. Uh, it's like I would play like, and our show is over 2 hours long too. So it's,
wow.
we were playing a really long show, and uh, I like playing a long show. Like
Mm,
now playing a half hour, like opening up to somebody, it's like, wow, that's really weird. Like, but we have so many records out and so many songs that,
mm,
2 hours still feels like, we're not really hitting on everything. There's some songs that we still feel like people are getting missed out on. So.
mm,
It's been cool. Like the live shows have been good in the last couple of years because of that fact of playing long, doing the 31 years of cleansing, celebratory tour, in Europe. So, this is a celebration of that, and people can go back and listen to some of the other records as well, as long as with this one.
Yeah,
We'll do
absolutely.
another one. We'll do another live record of some other thing down the line too. Just keep them coming, I guess.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I'd love a beg to differ.
That Beg to Differ would be good. Yeah, yeah.
That was when you first came onto my radar. Was beg to differ. I was listening to a lot of Sonic Youth at the time,
Oh,
actually.
cool.
Yeah, Daydream Nation was a big record for me.
Yeah, I
You know
went
that?
back listening to them because I really like. Yeah, that era was really cool.
Oh, so much good stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, like who else from that era? It was like
Butthole
uh,
Surfers were big for me.
yeah, that's true. Well, Black Flag too. I
Mm,
mean, even Buttholes. Yeah, there's like Jesus Lizard,
mm,
uh, Big Black.
mm.
uh, Rollins band. So yeah, it was a lot of good stuff going on back then.
Absolutely. I often wonder if my son's generation, my son's 18, I often wonder if they're going to get as misty-eyed as I do about about my formative years coming up, you know?
Wow, I don't know, man. It's hard to say. I got kids too. Like I don't know what they're going to be into.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe they'll just I would hate for this feeling to die with my generation. You know, this nostalgia about this time when everything was brand new, you know?
I think it. Unfortunately, I think that there's no way of redoing it because the problem is on a socioeconomic thing. I mean, we were able to, it's in America at least, like move into the city and create an art scene because the rents were cheap.
Mm,
We could, you know, prices were low. We could just live. Like I even say, I was like, I say, it astounds me. People, you have these, like people proclaiming poverty online. How they have like, dyed hair dye and nose rings and stuff. And I'm like, you know, like we never, we would live on $10 a month. Like we buy like a freaking thing of rice and beans and, it's like, we didn't starve, It's like
yeah.
now everyone's like, kids today, they go out to eat like for lunch at restaurants and stuff. It's like the whole standard of everything is different where, the idea of moving into living in a shithole for, you know, 10 years to get your craft together. They don't, it doesn't
Mm.
exist anymore. You know what
No.
I mean? It's like they couldn't handle it.
You couldn't afford to do it either
That's what I
these
mean. They
days.
can't afford to do it. That's
No.
what I mean. You can't. I mean, you'd have to have like four roommates living in a one-bedroom apartment in New York. It's like
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it does actually like when I've seen a lot of people from New York say like, the rent
yeah.
in New York now, even in the places that used to be shitholes,
Oh yeah.
it's
It's like that
incredible.
in LA too. It's like I can't. LA is ridiculous like that too. Like it just suddenly happened, which was weird because when I first I was living in LA for a while, and when I first went out there, I mean, it was so cheap out there. Like it's ridiculous.
Hmm.
And then like suddenly, like overnight, it got crazy. Like it just went from affordability to everyone decided like they just wanted to live there, and like in the rents and everything got very, very unaffordable. Like overnight, New York's always been expensive. It's been going this way for a while. Like
Mm.
you know, since like I sort of got priced out of Manhattan back when I was working at CB's. Like well,
Mm.
like whole like when my ex-wife, like my first wife, so we were like, what are we gonna do? So we were actually pioneers in Williamsburg. Like we went out, I go because I'm from New York, so like a lot of people that lived in Manhattan, they didn't know what to do from other places. But I was like, there's a dude like two subway stops out is Williamsburg, Brooklyn. Like, and I was able to walk from CB's to the train station and go over there. No one was living out there, so we got like a really nice apartment for like $500 a month out there. And like
Nice.
there was no hipsters there, nothing at that point. So we were actually one of the first people to move out there, and because we were getting priced out of Manhattan, like
Mm.
we had a really shitty apartment on Avenue. B and Second Street, and it was just disgusting. And we're
Mm,
paying a lot for it already. So it was
mm,
going up back. We're talking about, 30 years ago,
mm.
over 30 years ago, where it was starting getting high. But
Yeah,
LA
no.
just like overnight, like 5 years ago, just went crazy. Really weird.
Mental. Yeah, yeah. It seems to be the world economy at the moment. It's just well, it's been going for a while, like you say. So yeah, working at CBGB's must have been a trip, man. I mean, you must have stories for days from that place. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
I
did
do.
oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, again, talking to Harley Flanagan a little while ago,
Okay.
he was saying about when he was there when he was a little boy,
Oh,
you know.
I mean, you're talking about, he's like the original guy. Like,
Mhm,
I mean, you're not going to get any more. It's hard to follow up anything that Harley's going to say because he
mhm,
was there. One of my first experiences, I saw the Stimulators at Max's Kansas City, and he was drumming for them. And that was, I mean, he was like, I don't know, 13 or whatever.
mm,
And I'll never forget that. I have a photographic image of the Stimulators. They were like one of the first punk bands. So he's been there the whole time. And,
mm,
you know, I think that the original Cro-Mags, that was, they were still like the blueprint for like hardcore, other
mm,
than the Bad Brains, really. Like,
mm,
that's why I don't like all this retro hardcore stuff. I mean, I'm sorry. It's
mm,
just like, I can't
mhm,
because uh, it was just, it was the Bad Brains and the Cro-Mags and Agnostic Front. That was really what it was at. Like when prom came around, we were like, we can't be like them. Like,
mm,
why? Like we try to start our own thing. Like it was like, you know,
mm,
we had that, but we had to find some. We had to add that with something else.
Mm,
With whether and bands were doing it, adding hardcore with thrash because we had like the Crumbsuckers were a band
mm,
from New York. They were doing that. So like we put more on top of it. Like so, it was always about originality back then and trying to do something different. But that's out the window now. I mean,
mm,
it's all formula rock now. It's all,
mm.
it's rules. Everything is rules now.
Yeah, it really is.
You go
Yeah,
to a rock club now, it's all rules. Like it's rule. You can't do this, no this. You go out to a club, it's all rules, 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 rules.
they
Don't say this, don't say that. You can't say this. It's like everything is just like, everyone's gonna get insulted, So,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like and then we have like, back then I was going to clubs. It's another thing that's different since I'm like what, 14, 15.
Mm,
Like no one carded me. I was going into CB's at 15 and I was drinking.
mm.
It's like now forget it. Like, you got to show like a passport to get into clubs now, It's like
True that.
so it's ridiculous, right? It's like and especially in America, like the drinking age is different in Europe, but I mean, understandably so here because kids drive at an early age, they get fucked up and they kill people. But
Yep.
it's like there was a lot more open. There was a lot more frontiers back then. Where
Mm,
now it's so uh, they've whoever they is, they've put restrictions on music, on everything. It's
mm,
like they just want to sell you what they want to sell you, and that's it. And
yep.
if you do anything other than that, you're not invited.
Yeah, for real, for real.
True.
Well, thank God we did have those days when you could
Yes,
do what you want because now we have these days because of those days. So,
that's true. Yeah, everything's for a purpose. That's right.
even like, what seemed like youthful exuberance and nonsense at the time seems to have been very important down the line. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Every mistake made became something, So
Yeah,
yes, absolutely.
very smart of you. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Well, it's been an absolute joy talking to you today, and
Same here, George.
I've been really looking forward to the follow-up to State of Emergency, and I hope to speak to you about that when it comes.
Thank you, man.